Bear Insiders. I am Mike Pawlawski, and welcome to the Ultimate Insider Podcast. Today, we are covering Florida State and Miami, and it's been a little while because we've had a bye week. And so it's a good week to kind of recover from that long Tallahassee trip for the Bears and to go over some of the things that went wrong in that game for them to work on it. I'll be talking to Coach Wilcox coming up, but first, my thoughts on that game. And I thought it was a big environment, no doubt about it. When you go down to the stadium, it was a great experience. It was a big environment with a team with their backs against the wall. They needed a win. Florida State 0-3 coming into that one. They needed to win big time. And quite honestly, the Bears on the road needed to play at a higher mistake-free clip than they had been playing. And you know that eventually, if you play with mistakes, they're going to catch up to you against your more talented teams. Now, neither one of these teams was incredibly clean in this game. Florida State and Cal both made mistakes in this game. DJ Uyunglele, the quarterback for Florida State, not particularly good, in my opinion. He's kind of the same guy that he has always been. I thought that their offense sputtered. At times, Cal's defense did a very nice job, once again, taking the ball away. But they needed to take advantage of the opportunities that they had. And offensively, I think the Bears didn't do that in this game. They had issues up front. Offensive line, Florida State, number 5, I believe his name was Turner now. I have to look back at my notes, but this dude was unblockable up front. He was a game wrecker. And so that was a huge piece of the issue, and the Bears had a hard time accounting for him. He was penetrating on run plays. He was getting push on the pocket in pass plays. And so he was a guy that just was incredibly disruptive to the offense. The offense also, and I think possibly as a part of that, as a part of crowd noise, as a part of big environment, big moment, was making some unforced errors for a number of different reasons. But pre-snap penalties will kill you, especially when you're driving, when you're down inside the 20, inside the 10, and you start making pre-snap penalties that then back you up. You cannot back yourself up when you're trying to attack and get in the paint. So the Bears had some issues there as well. I think on defense, linebackers continue to play at a really high clip. I think Cade Uluave and Teddy Buchanan both have been phenomenal this year. I think they continue to be really good in this game. Did an outstanding job at that position. I think the safeties for the Bears are playing extremely well. And the defensive line did some good things in this game as well, kind of moving Uyunglele around, kind of getting him off of his spot, making him uncomfortable, forcing Florida State off the field. But the offense has to be able to execute. There were times in the game I thought Fernando Mendoza played, at times he played heroically, getting the Bears out of the paint, pressure on him, finding open receivers. The big scramble at the end of the game was a huge one for the Bears. And so I think we're still watching him grow as a quarterback. We're watching him come of age. He's facing pressure. He's facing better teams. He's seeing more talent. There's still young things like the interception that he can work on as well. So a tough game for the Bears. It was a very winnable game for them coming into Florida State, something that they could have, a game they could have captured. And I think they obviously feel that they let one slip away there. If you make 2 field goals, you could win that game. Or if you just make 1, then you're kicking to win the game at the end on that possession as well. And so overall, missed opportunities will kill you in a football game. It's always 5 to 8 plays, and I would say that penalties and special teams missed field goals accounted for all 5 to 8 of those for the Bears this game. I'll talk to Coach Wilcox in just a second, but this week, huge announcement. Game day is coming to Cal. So it's the first time they've been on Cal's campus. Obviously, we need all the supporters out there to make it look like a big-time football environment. Put our best foot forward for the Bears. So game day in Berkeley this week. They finally appearing, and it's great to have them. It's a way to market the school. It's a way to market our program, our football program, and it's a way to market everything that Berkeley's about. So hopefully people show up. Hopefully we have a great time. Hopefully game day comes off big time out there in Berkeley. More information to come in terms of setup, in terms of timing and all of that. But it's going to be a big event, so let's make it a big event. Long stretch between game day and the game, but if you're a diehard fan, you're going to want to see both. I've seen game day 3 times now at Cal events. So I've been there for it for SC, Oregon, and Utah. And so I've been to all 3 of those. It's a fun event. You guys are going to want to attend. But now let's talk to Coach Wilcox about both Florida State and the upcoming game at Miami. Joining me now, head coach Justin Wilcox. And Coach, you got a bye week this week, right? Coming off Florida State. How was your bye week?
It was productive. 5 days of practice. And, we used that practice. We also got some really good work with some of the younger guys or guys that are not getting as many reps. And we got some conditioning in. We worked situational football. We worked specifics on offense, defense, and special teams on areas where we have to show immediate improvement. And then we finished the week with the players getting a couple days off, and then we went recruiting.
Nice. Let's talk about that Florida State game. I know, obviously disappointing. You go a long way, and thought defense played pretty well. Offense had some flashes, but we talked about it early in the season. Unforced errors, I think, were a big piece of that.
Absolutely. Offensively, we moved the ball. We had 8 explosive plays or 20-yard plays or more. And we were in the red zone multiple times. I think we had the ball inside. I can't quite remember the stat. It might be, inside the 20, maybe 5 times or something like that. And we only, we didn't score a touchdown. So red zone opportunities that we have to capitalize on. And then the obvious ones are the pre-snap penalties and sacks. We took too many sacks for a number of different reasons, and then the number of pre-snap penalties is just totally unacceptable as a program. Can't have it. Coaches, starting with me, we all have to demand better and practice it better, prepare better, so that we can get the snap and run a play. So it was very disappointing to see that hold us back. We also had opportunity in the kicking game to score a few more points. We were able to capitalize on, so we continue to work that and stress that. And then defensively, it was a couple big third downs. We felt like we could have got one more of those third down stops and maybe held them to 7 and win the game. That's how we would have had to do it defensively. But it was disappointing, and felt like we did enough in a lot of areas to win the game. Ultimately, though, you can't get inside the red zone. You can't not score a touchdown. You got to make your kicks, and then you have to be able to get the snap off. And we did not do a good enough job pre-snap offensively.
For sure. And then offensive line play. Talking about that, you knew they had some dudes up front from Florida State. Number 5 in particular was kind of a game wrecker in there. Talk about the offensive line.
Yeah, I think we're still working through. We got a couple guys back. And they played, and then unfortunately Siawape went out again. We still got to make strides there, and there's some good things, in the run game. We had some runs, especially the counter game got going a little bit, had some good runs and productive runs, even if they're 4 yards. I mean, there's some good runs in there, but we're giving up too many sacks, and again, that's protection, O-line, running backs, tight end, and the quarterback. Like, everybody's involved in that. And so you can't go backwards that many times and expect to beat a team with as much talent as Florida State, and even more so this week, with Miami, who's even, they're as talented. They got one of the most talented teams in the country.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about quarterback play. Fernando had some huge plays in that game where he came up big. Talk about his effort in this game, things he did well, things he didn't do quite as well, things you'd like to see more.
Yeah, Fernando, effort's never going to be a question with Fernando. He is always going to bring it. I mean, he works really hard. He's a very competitive guy. He's very tough, and that showed up in the Florida State game. And he made a couple great scrambles for first downs. He had some great throws. We had some missed opportunities, in the past game that I know that he would like to have back. And then there was some operational things, whether it's cadence, protections, where to go with the down and distance awareness. There's some things operationally he can definitely do better. But he's a very conscientious guy, as you know, Mike, and he works really hard at football. So I would expect to see him continue to improve. And it's our job as coaches, starting with me and then our offensive coaches to help him and the rest of the players on offense take a step forward. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, and I was talking about during the broadcast. Here's a guy. He's had now 12 starts, I think, total. Cam Ward is coming off his 5th year, I think, or 4th year as a full-time starter. You can see the difference in polish. Not that they're the same player at all, but how much does he grow every game? How much does Fernando get better every game?
Yeah, and that's what we all need to see. From every position. I talked to the coaches about this. It's really we judge how we're doing. Obviously, wins and losses, we know that, but do the players know what to do? Do they know how to do it? And are they getting better? And, we need to see that throughout the season, and that's on us as coaches and the shared responsibility with the players. And so I know Fernando wants to get better, and I fully expect he's going to continue to improve and then build upon the things that he's doing real well. I mean, he's throwing some great balls, and he had some fantastic throws in that game, and he'll have some this week. And then it's about maximizing those and then minimizing those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So big announcement this week, obviously college game day coming to town. Now I know you as a coach, like that doesn't affect you on the field or what you're doing out there, but talk about what it means for the school and for the program.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I mean, it's the biggest show in college football no offense, Mike, without a doubt, it probably the biggest show in sports. I mean, I don't know what the viewership's like, but it's a big deal. And, I want our players to, it's why you play college football is to, at some point you get to play and have college game day. That's a great thing. It's great for our school. It's great for our students, our alumni and supporters. And it's a great opportunity for us to put our best foot forward. Obviously on the field, and how we play the game is important, but also telling the story and the history here of the players at Cal, the proud football tradition, the opportunity that's in front of us. We are located in a fantastic place. You got infrastructure. You have a phenomenal school. You have Bay Area resources. I mean, there's alumni who've gone through Cal have done very, very well, and so it's there's a lot of meat left on the bone. You can do fantastic things here, and I think with the new chancellor, and celebrating that, who's invested in football and cares about football and all those things, it just seems like a great opportunity to kind of show everybody what we're capable of being here, and then and continue to build upon that. That's what I think.
Yeah, no doubt. And great marketing for the school, great marketing for the program, great marketing, helping in recruiting as well, right? When something like that shows up here. So get some hype around the program. And so they're coming out this week for the Miami game, right? And Miami, as you said, we started talking about them on film, pretty talented group. Offensively, they got skilled guys, got, quarterback who you're very familiar with in Cam Ward, running back who you're also very familiar with. How can we keep playing former Pac-12 quarterbacks week after week, right? But so talented offensively, and they got some dudes up front on defense as well.
Oh yeah, we've played a couple of very, very talented teams thus far, and these guys are even more talented, I think. This is one of the most talented teams in the country. They've accumulated a lot of talent there, really at every position. You kind of go through the roster. There's not a position group that you say, oh, maybe they're lacking there. I mean, at all. And so it starts with the quarterback, the offensive line, the tight ends, a really special player. I mean, the running back, he's the best running back we saw last year at Oregon State. Now he's down there, and there's another guy on the team. There's a couple more. There's probably 3 running backs on that team that are, NFL type prospects, and the receivers. I mean, you got to just go through the whole thing. I mean, they're very, very gifted. The defensive line, the interior guys, the rushers, the edge players. I mean, they're just a lot of very good football players.
Yeah, and so Miami, obviously a huge undefeated coming in, but a huge challenge in terms of physical skills. But you get them at 10:30 their time, like body clock wise, and Yeah, you try to coach guys to be at their best no matter what time it is. How hard is it to get a team ready for those different time zone changes like that now with ACC play?
You know, we don't really look at it as a big deal for us, whether we go on the road and play a late game, go on the road, play an early game, play at home with an early game or play at home with a late game. We kind of have our routine that we go through in all the different scenarios. So we don't really think much about it. I can't really answer for how the other team feels, players or coaches, so I won't even guess. But yeah, they're a bunch of really good players. They're well coached. They'll have them ready to play. I don't suspect that would be an issue at all.
So talk about injuries that you've got coming in here. How do we do injury wise? How are we like?
Doing better.
Is he coming back? Are we?
Yeah, doing better. We had him back last game. He played and Will played. Siwape went down in the game. The good news is everything's been very positive since that time, which we're all grateful for. And I think right now it's kind of day by day with Siwape. So we'll hope to get him back.
That was scary on the field for sure.
Yeah, it is. I mean, anytime, and they're doing the right things. They always use an abundance of caution, and anything that comes up, kind of in that head neck area, and good. Even on the field, it was good to see he had movement and was talking and feeling, and everything seemed to go well with all the testing. So yeah, everything it's day to day right now, but be really nice to have him back full time whenever that is. And as far as the other guys, the receivers are week to week. We'll see. We'll see how this week goes. I think it probably, doubtful is probably the best term. So, but it's getting better. We're still waiting on a couple guys, that could be good role players for us. But it's the game of football, and health is a relative term in season.
Yeah. So what are your keys for this game? What do you guys have to do in this game to come out?
Yeah. Well, offensively, we got to go forward. I mean, these are obvious things. You got to eliminate the self-inflicted wounds. We can't have pre-snap penalties. Conversion rates and move the ball down the field with the drives. We're going to have to, to say you can score, a bunch of touchdowns and every drive's 15 or 17 plays. That's a tall task. I think you're going to have to hit some explosives on offense. Defensively, it's, how do you get them behind the chains? They only had, I think in their first 4 games, they only had maybe 5 plays or less where they went negative on first or second down. So they don't go backwards. And so you got to get them behind the chains and then find a way to get that third down stop. That'll be key. I think the go zone offense and go zone defense, once you reach that midfield area where it's potential 4-down territory, those situations are going to be big. We got to score touchdowns. And I still have faith in our field goal kicker and unit. It hasn't been where we need it to be, but I still have faith in that group. But we got to find ways to put the ball in the end zone against Miami. I don't think you want to, if you had 5 field goal attempts, that's probably not great. So we'll see where it ends up with that. But I think the punter can be key again. And at the end of all that, the number of possessions and turnover margin will be primary.
Yeah, you guys have been so good in turnover margin this year. I mean, taking the ball away at a pretty high clip and not turning it over great. So that's obviously, it starts in your favor, but continuing in this game is a huge piece of it. Coach, appreciate you coming on. Always good to talk to you. Good luck this week. Going to be on game day, so that's going to be huge. And a big national game, 7:30 versus Miami. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, me too. Thanks, Mike. Go Bears.
So that's Coach Wilcox. Obviously, that Florida State game, missed opportunities. The Bears have to clean that up. They've been working on it all week long. This week, going into Miami, a much bigger game, a much bigger opponent, right? On the national stage, you get game day at Cal. You have a very, very talented Miami team come in there. Mario Cristobal, the head coach, has put together a very talented team at Miami in terms of dudes across the board. You've got draft picks, NFL draft picks in Miami at offensive line, at that receiver spot, at the quarterback position, in the running back backfield. the running backs. So you have dudes across the board. They have them on defense and the defensive line, the secondary. So it is a big game, a big matchup for Cal this week, and they're going to have to be at their best. I personally think a 10:30 start, a later game, helps the Bears in the end. If they can stay in this game early and they can or take a lead early, then towards the end of the game, I just think body clock will, it's 10:30 p.m. for Miami. So I think body clock is going to, force the Canes to fade a little bit towards the end of the night. And so I think if the Bears can stay in it early, not that it's going to be early for them, it's going to be 10:30 their time, towards the end of the game too. But if you stay in early, and then later in the game you have your opportunity at home crowd to wear it out. Now that said, we need to get a big home crowd there. We need to get people supporting the Bears. We need to get people out there making some noise, making it a big-time environment for this game. That would be huge for the Bears. Linebackers are going to have to step up big because I assume that they're going to try to force Miami to run the ball. They have great running backs. They run the ball well, but they have an air raid style system. The air raid systems that have to run the ball first don't function consistently. It feels awkward for them. And so trying to force them to run the ball first is a huge point for the Bears, because if they can do that, then you get Miami off of their game, throwing those big darts down the field, big explosive plays, finding Xavier Restrepo down the field. Those kind of things, the explosive plays can kill you if you let them happen. This team can make them in a hurry if you allow it. So the Bears will have to find a way to prevent that, which means you'll probably have more people in the secondary, trying to make it a cloudier look in the secondary, and you're trying to hem the quarterback in, force him to do something from the pocket. And so linebackers have to be great in the run game this week. Offensively, the Bears cannot trade field goals for touchdowns. They have to put the ball in the paint. They have to be able to hold their own. So I would say that the offense needs to score about 28 points this week at least. And so 4 touchdowns need to come out and find a way to find the paint, be it through the run game, be it through the pass game, be it through trick plays, something. Come out with something big. I actually played Miami twice when I was at Cal, and that's back in the days of the 2 Live Crew Miami. So when they were national champs, and they were incredibly talented back then. I know what they're like. They are a gifted and talented football team then. They are a gifted and talented football team now, but they are a beatable football team just like any other team. Play sound, gap sound on defense in terms of run, stay home, play your technique in the secondary, and it gives you your best chance. Offensively, shore up that offensive line. Get that offensive front working together. Hopefully McDonald, Vadakani come back, and they're back and solid for the entire game. And then run the ball, right? Find a way to establish the run up front, keep that defensive line out of the pass game. And if you can do that, throw the ball down the field, take some shots, but also be efficient with the football. Can't let this game feel bigger than it is. It's just the next football game. If you're one of the players in this game, it's just the next football game. And so show up at 7:30, lace up your cleats, and time to go. But you need to play good, and you need to eliminate the unforced errors. If the Bears can do that, then they're going to be okay in this game at home, at night, a long trip for Miami. I think they stand a very good chance. If they can't, if they have the forced errors or unforced errors, if they make mistakes, then Miami is too talented to stop them. You can't stop them if you have to stop yourself as well. So those are my thoughts. Don't shoot yourself in the foot, right? Don't trip yourself up. Find a way to make Miami a run-first offense and then tackle the run, force them to go long field. And then on offense, be efficient, get in the paint, find a way to score touchdowns. If they can do that and then find a way to make Miami kick the ball away, now they're very good on third down conversions, but find a way to make Miami punt the ball back, play a little field position game with them, that's the best chance, and then try to wear on them towards the end of the night when their body clocks are off. Anyway, my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It's going to be a big week this week. Hopefully everybody shows up. Hopefully we're loud and make it a hostile environment at home. Until Saturday, I appreciate you guys watching. I am Mike Pawlawski for the Ultimate Insider and Bear Insider. Go Bears.